app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here, too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent, too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
M Suits Clothiers, Lincoln's favorite men's store, is having their end-of-season clearance sale. End-of-season clearance is going on now with up to 75% off. Stop in now for the best selection on polos, sport shirts, suits, sport coats, dress pants, and dress shirts. Suits as low as $299, sport coats starting at $199, dress shirts as low as $69, and polos starting at $49. M Suits Clothiers is located 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road. M Suits Clothiers, your menswear store.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Play ball!
Ready for summer fun and ballpark vibes? Bring your pack to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. From May through August, the Lincoln Salt Dogs will be playing and the park will be popping with all the food, drinks, and fun you need for the perfect night out. Grab your friends, family, and coworkers and make plans now. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets. Come on out to the park and unleash the fun.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches, too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance. Coming at you live from the 93.7 The Ticket studio, from the heart of Lincoln, America. Expanding awareness about the TeamMates program and the ever-growing need for mentors. This is TeamMates Timeout with TeamMates CEO Des Moines Adams and Marketing and Communications Manager Ashton Honor.
You're alive with TeamMates Timeout with DeMo and Ash. Again, my name is Des Moines Adams. I also go by DeMo. We have Ashton Honor. She goes by Ash. And since Tuesday, October the 1st, that is when TeamMates Timeout with DeMo and Ash began. It was all focused around really causing people to take a time out, get to know teammates mentoring, understand the importance and the impact of mentorship, and what was started 34 years ago by Nancy and Tom Osborne. As we get ready to kick off another school year football, and as we get ready to somewhat slow down the efforts that we have been striving toward, which is to recruit more mentors, a lot of people have been wanting to know, when are we going to have co-founder Tom Osborne on the show? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the day is the day. So please help me welcome co-founder of TeamMates Mentor, Coach Tom Osborne. Coach, how you doing this afternoon?
Well, doing pretty good. I can't believe the number of streets we have in Lincoln that are blocked off. My life was in my hands on the way down here. I'm glad I made it.
Yes. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time, and we did not want to be a bother. For those of you that don't know this, Coach Osborne comes into the office every day from 9 o'clock to at least 1 o'clock. And Coach, when I tell people that, they think you're still working. You don't have to come in. You want to come in. Before Ashton gives you a proper introduction, I'm just curious, why do you come into the office every day?
Well, I keep hoping that somebody will decide to pay me. And so far, after several years, I'm kind of beginning to realize they're not going to pay me. So, no, I enjoy coming, and sometimes I can do a little bit of good. And so Teammates is important to me, important to Nancy. And so Nancy has a few health issues, and so I have somebody come in with her for about 4 hours a day. And then from that point on, I try to take care of her.
Yeah.
Now, Coach, we're going to give you your proper introduction. Folks listening to our viewers and our listeners here, as Des Moines mentioned, we are joined by Teammates co-founder, Dr. Coach Tom Osborne, who was the legendary Husker head football coach, where he won 3 national championships, was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, and he had 65 COSIDA academic All-Americans during his reign. He was also then a University of Nebraska athletic director for 6 years, and he served 3 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives from Nebraska's 3rd Congressional District from 2000 to 2006. And then what we are most thankful for is you and Nancy co-founding the Teammates Mentoring Program. Coach, a lot of folks think that Teammates was your idea, but it was actually Nancy's. What was your reaction when Nancy brought this mentoring concept to you?
Well, at that time, it was 1991, and I'd been coaching, and I came home from work one day, and Nancy said she'd been thinking. And when she says that, that always strikes fear into my heart. And but what had happened was she'd been watching a segment of 60 Minutes TV program. And on this program, there was a guy named Eugene Lang. And Eugene Lang was a businessman who had done well financially, was elderly now. And so he was asked to go back to his middle school to give a commencement address to 7th and 8th graders. And so he worked hard on his speech. And when he got back there, he was surprised because the school now was 40, 50 years older, somewhat decrepit, and the demographics had changed. The school now was in the inner city. And when he'd gone there, most kids were going to go to college. And so he asked the principal, he said, as he sat there, he said, how many of these kids do you think will end up going to college? And he said, well, if we're lucky, maybe one will go. And that shocked him. So he more or less tore up his speech, got up in front of those kids, and he said, if you guys will stay out of trouble and graduate from high school, I'll pay your way to college. And that impressed Nancy, and she said, there's something like that we could do. Well, at that time, they didn't pay coaches quite what they do today. And so I knew I couldn't put 200 or 300 people through college. But I said, well, let me see what I can do. So I got in front of our football team the next day. I said, how many of you guys would be willing to serve as a mentor to some 7th or 8th grade boys in the Lincoln Public Schools? 22 hands went up. We matched them up, and we said for the players, just meet with them once a week. Once a month, we'd get them all together. We'd have a speaker, eat some pizza, and things seemed to be going pretty well. And I won't go on a whole lot longer, but the thing that did spark an interest was that as these kids got to be seniors in high school, we found that all of them, all 22 graduated. And we had thought maybe 50, 60% would be pretty good. And about 80% of them had a post-secondary plan. And so from that point, we decided that this was worthwhile. We expanded first in Lincoln, then across Nebraska, and now we're in about 7 states. And, so it has changed a good deal.
Well, Coach, just hearing your story that all 22 of those students graduated from high school and 18 of them went on to pursue some form of post-secondary education. Here we are 34 years later. We have served 51,500 students since the inception, and 96% of students graduate from high school on time. Is that what you and Nancy envisioned back then? What was your vision? And then how does that make you feel hearing that what you started has been sustainable?
Well, of course, at that juncture, with 22 football players matched with 22 young guys, we had no idea what was going to happen. But one thing that we did want to see happen was that these kids would end up with a marketable skill. And that generally means some type of post-secondary education. It may mean grade school, might mean community college, might mean a university education. But number one, you better finish high school, because if you don't have a high school diploma, it's going to be pretty hard for you to really have a sustainable existence. And so we're really pleased with the way things have gone. We've had a lot of help along the way. And one person that I want to mention was Barbara Hopkins. Barb worked with the Lincoln Public Schools, and she and Nancy really, since I was pretty busy coaching, really ramrodded the thing early on. And so she certainly deserves some credit along with Nancy.
And Coach, you not only helped start Teammates with Nancy, and you really never ran the program, but you have always been a Teammates mentor yourself. And for those that are watching and listening, you heard Coach's resume. You've been in leadership for decades, but yet you still found the time to mentor a young person. And today you're still a mentor. For so many other people, they will make excuses, but how was you able to do it all of these decades, to start an organization with your wife, but to actually be a part of Teammates by being a mentor?
Well, it's really not as difficult as it may sound, because the people in the schools really want mentors, and they're willing to adjust. And so sometimes our mentors come during a lunch period, sometimes during a homeroom period. But I mentor 2 kids right now, and they'll make some allowance for any time that I can get there. Probably the most difficult time that I had in mentoring was when I was in Congress. And a lot of people don't realize this, but Congress only works about 4 days a week, and lots of people kind of suspect that's true. Most of them don't know it. So I'd fly to Washington on a Monday, and usually before I left at 10 o'clock, catch 10 o'clock plane, I'd meet with my mentee, or when I got home Friday afternoon, I would meet. And so even during that 6-year period where I was traveling to Washington and then also traveling the 3rd District of Nebraska, I was able to continue to mentor. And so what I've found is that if somebody really is interested in doing this, serving a young person, you can work it out. And the schools will always be very helpful. And so currently I'm mentoring 2 kids. One is post-secondary. He's graduated from high school and he's at Southeast Community College and he's going to go on to the university. Then one young guy is from South Sudan in Africa. And he's had a very interesting story. And so I'm working very closely with him. And but it has been rewarding. I think every young person that I've mentored has been different. There have been different challenges, but the main thing is if they know that you care and that you're interested in them, you're not there to take advantage of them in any way. You're willing to listen. You're willing to help. It makes a huge difference in their life, and I think that most everybody can benefit from having a mentor. And the thing that's important for mentors, potential mentors, to understand is that nobody forces these people, young people, to have a mentor. These are all kids who have raised their hand and one way or another have said, yeah, I would like to have a mentor. And so it isn't something that's prescribed. It isn't something that's forced on the mentee. And it does make a huge difference.
So Lincoln Public Schools is back in session and a lot of the matches are starting to meet. So I got to meet with my mentee today for the first time of the school year. We kicked it off. And one of the coolest things, to Coach's point, the excitement of your first meeting and coming back, like she was like so excited to see me today. And one cool thing that Lincoln Public Schools does, and my mentee and I received this, we met 24 or more times last year. And so shout out to Jim Bennett and the Teammates of Lincoln chapter. We each got a certificate saying you're part of the 24 plus club. And my mentee and I have been matched for, it's 3 years now. And we moved on to middle school and I was like, oh boy, I got to brace myself for the middle school years. Elementary was a lot of fun, but now we're moving and shaking in middle school. But just to see her excitement today when she came through the office door, because per our rules, I didn't see her this summer. So our last meeting was in May and then we got to meet again here in August. But to see her face light up when I got to see her for the first time, and she wanted to tell me all these different things that she did in the summer and just how excited she was. And as a mentor, I always say that's the highlight of my week, is getting to go meet with my mentee and talk to her, play games, just listen to all the things that she has going on. So I want to remind all of you folks who are listening and watching, if Coach can have multiple mentees, you yourselves have the time to give us the gift of your time to mentor.
And Coach, just thinking of our core values: safety, commitment to students, integrity and trust, inclusion, and strengths-based. We kind of did our homework, and you set some core values when you were the athletic director at University of Nebraska for the Huskers. And some of those core values included integrity, trust, loyalty. Seems like you're pretty consistent when it comes to having a team, a group of people that are working toward a common goal. When you hear that Ashton met with her student 24 or more times this past year, why is that important for a young person, for them to have a consistent adult in their life?
Well, I think if people think back to when they were in elementary school, middle school, or even high school, things happen and things change rather quickly. And so if you're a mentor, you need to be consistent. And one thing I might mention, we don't normally mentor during the summer months, but I have found that 2.5, 3 months when you're young is a long time. And so I usually will go to the school and meet with my mentee, whoever I'm mentoring, about once every 2-3 weeks, even during the summer, to maintain that consistent relationship. And the important thing is to be a good listener it's not so important that we tell or that we prescribe or that we try to impose our views on them. More important to know where they're coming from. But if you listen, there will be teachable moments. And you don't have to say, hey, this is what you got to do. You got to get your act together. You can say, well, have you ever thought about this? You're having trouble in math, let's say. And have you ever thought about making sure that we get you a tutor? Would something like that be helpful? And usually they'll say, that'd be a really good idea. And so I think it's important that they know that they're heard, they're listened to, and above all, that you care. And one way that you demonstrate that you care about them is by showing up. And so it can be very harmful to tell somebody I care about you, and then you drop the ball and you're not there for a month, 2 months. And so that's important. And let me just say this further. I've talked to so many mentors who have said it's been one of the most meaningful, if not the most meaningful thing that they have done. And I think meaning and purpose comes from serving. It doesn't come from getting and receiving or taking. It comes from serving somebody, particularly somebody that on the surface can't do anything for us in return. Obviously, being a mentor isn't going to make you a lot of money. It's not going to get you any headlines in the paper, but you know that you've made a difference in that life. And there are so many kids that are at turning points where they can make a 10-degree turn to the right or the left, and which way they go will make a huge difference in the whole trajectory of their life, for better or for worse. And so in most cases, those mentors are able to see that movement in a positive direction. And of course, there's a ripple effect, because it doesn't just affect one person. It will affect their friends. It'll affect their family. It'll affect the children they have. And so it's important to understand you don't just impact one life, you impact many others.
And that ripple effect you talk about in your Mentor Matters book, which out of all of the books that you've written lately, most of your books have been around mentorship and leadership. And you talked a lot about hope. And Gallup research says that hope is the greatest indicator of success. Coach, you and I, we've done a number of recruitments, and, in addition to talking about the impact of hope to get people to become a mentor, you talk about love in the root form of agape. I just love it when you explain just how our students need love, but the agape, could you share kind of what that means to love a young person from that agape form?
Well, agape simply means that you're trying to serve their needs and that you're willing to sacrifice your time for them, and they understand that. And so that's critical. You mentioned the word hope, and I think a lot of research has been done on this idea of hope. And if somebody feels that they do have a future, that somehow, somewhere down the line, things will get better, you can survive most anything. But when people, young people or older people, get to the point where they think there is no hope, that there's no way out of this situation they're in, family situation, relationships, academics, whatever it may be, then life really gets hard and things begin to spiral out of control. So hope is maybe the most powerful thing that a mentor can provide a young person. And I think about 85% of our mentees indicate that having a mentor makes their life much more hopeful. They can see a future. They can see some light at the end of the tunnel. And if you can see some light at the end of the tunnel, then you can survive most anything.
Well, Coach, I know in the second segment, we're going to dive a little bit more into your time in graduate school, because what makes you a unique head coach is that your doctor, head coach Tom Osborne, the time that you spent with Dr. Don Clifton, the work around positive psychology, how you use that with the football players, how we're using that as an organization. I know a lot of people want to know, before we go into the second segment, how effective was the positive psychology with the football team when you were a head coach?
Well, the thing about it is that so often people equate coaching with criticism and fault finding. And certainly if somebody ducks their head when they tackle, you don't want to say, well, that's really great. Keep ducking your head. You certainly have to correct mistakes, but you can say, you're the dumbest guy I've ever coached. You keep ducking your head and you're going to get hurt. And I hope you do get hurt. Or you can say, we've talked a lot about keeping your head up. Keep your head up, lock your arms, drive your feet. And that's the important thing. Then the next time that guy does it the right way, you make a big deal out of it and you compliment him. But it should never be personal. And so often in coaching, sometimes criticism got personal, and I don't think I ever called a player a name, a derogatory name. At least I hope I didn't. And maybe we'll get a phone call at the end of the show from somebody. But I think it is important to try to be positive. But you certainly don't want to let incorrect performance or bad habits go unnoticed either, because then they become ingrained, and that's not good. So you have to be able to correct, but do it in a positive way.
And in the second segment, we're going to definitely focus a little bit more on what it means to have the core value of strengths-based. And before we hear the music, Ashton, you've been a part of Teammates now. It has been a year.
A year today.
Right? It has been a year. So happy anniversary, being a part of Teammates. And before we go to break, being a part of this organization that has been around for a long, long time and sitting next to co-founder Tom Osborne, how has been the experience for you?
It feels like a whirlwind of a first year. I mean this as the highest compliment. It feels like I've been here longer than a year, because it was literally jump right in. And as you know, I had an opportunity to kind of clean up a few things, and I'm still cleaning up a few things in the marketing world here to help better the Teammates brand, put us in places that maybe we haven't been before. But it really, truly is an honor to work for an organization founded by Coach and Nancy, that the mission, we do what we do for the mission, to positively impact the world by inspiring students to reach their full potential through mentoring. And so to be able to come to work every day and get to live out that mission and just continue the work of Coach and Nancy, that is the ultimate privilege. Working at Teammates is carrying on their legacy and that mission and helping get one more student off that waiting list.
And Coach, I got to say, it doesn't feel like work, especially when you get to do what you love to do. And so I know I appreciate the opportunity. You recruited me twice. You recruited me from Pine Bluff, Arkansas to play for the Huskers. And then you gave me an opportunity to be a part of your other team. And so this doesn't feel like work to me. It doesn't feel like work to Ashton. We love what we get to do every day. We don't have to do it because we're all doing it for our young people, for our students. Austin, as you get ready to play the music, tell us what is it going to take for Coach Osborne to finally convince you to go to teammates.org?
Man, I don't know. He's been told he's a pretty convincing guy, so I'm sure it won't take much.
Okay. Well, he knows a lot about winning on the field and Teammates mentoring. We have definitely shown that we are winning in over 200 communities 7 states. And so Teammates Timeout with DeMo and Ash. We'll be back here in 5 minutes.
Empower a child today with the TeamMates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the TeamMates Mentoring Program today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Nutrition Authority invites you to enjoy internet-crushing prices at the back-to-school blowout. We already offer better-than-internet pricing, but from Monday, August 25th through Saturday, August 30th, we're slashing them even deeper. The back-to-school blowout at Nutrition Authority. For location information, check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hi, I'm Casey Oddie, and I'm the Retail Banking Manager at your local Midwest Bank branch on 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Banking may be my job, but supporting the community is what I care most about. Whether I'm showing up at local events, partnering with schools, or helping people reach financial milestones, I am proud to be a part of what makes Lincoln strong. Let's build something together. Stop by and say hi. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Back to Teammates Timeout with DeMo and Ash on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
On Ash on 93.7 The Ticket, we are joined by Dr. Tom Osborne with us today, co-founder of the TeamMates Mentoring Program. Coach, TeamMates will be celebrating 35 years in April. What is your proudest TeamMates accomplishment in those 35 years?
Well, I think just the fact that we've grown a great deal and that each year now we've been mentoring at least 10,000 young people. And we're hoping to grow that to maybe 12,000. But maybe the most important thing is that we've mentored over 50,000 young people without an incident where one of them has been harmed. And part of that is our training procedures, but a lot of it has been the quality of people step forward because 51,000 is a lot of matches. And as Des Moines and you have both pointed out that we have certain procedures, so we meet in certain ways. The mentors are trained, but still, we've got to say that a lot of it's just simply the quality of the people that decide to raise their hand and be a mentor and to serve a young person in the right way has been very important. And so very pleased with the data. And I think the one thing when you look at the data that kind of jumps out at you is that mentors report leaving their mentoring session feeling energized, feeling that they've made a contribution, and they, both them and their mentee, have a greater feeling of hope for the future. And so this is not a one-way street where the mentor is totally always giving because they receive a great deal in return. And it's not monetary, but it's simply a feeling that you've made a contribution and that you've provided a sense of hope in the life of a young person.
You know, Coach, you mentioned that word hope again, and I think it's also really good to hear what's important to you, the safety, us continuing to serve more students, and that's the goal. And of course, we just completed our strategic plan through 2028, and that's one of the goals is to not just serve more students, but how can we retain those students and those mentors? Going back to what brought success to the football team, one of the things that TeamMates is doing to bring success to our young people through training is that we use Gallup strengths-based strategies and their model and their research. Can you talk more about why it's important for adults to focus on the strengths of a student?
Well, every person, every young person is different. They're built a little bit differently, and everyone has some strengths, some things that they do better than most people, things that energize them, things that they're interested in. And so it's important that the mentor has some idea what those strengths are. And if you understand what somebody's strengths are, then your line of conversation, your line of encouragement can incorporate those strengths. And I think that certainly makes for a better match. One thing that we have found is that there's a lot of things that are attractive to the schools. It's a school-based program, and all the mentoring occurs in the school. And you may say, well, why would a school designate somebody and pay them some of their salary and allow a place for mentors? Why would they do that? And some of the data that we have is very interesting because 61% of TeamMates mentees show an improvement in their grades. 87% have fewer unexcused absences. 74% have, 87% have fewer disciplinary referrals. 71% have fewer unexcused absences. So I think that the schools have generally seen this as a real plus and something that has benefit them in terms of their educational mission. And so we're pleased that we have roughly 200 different school districts buy into TeamMates. And that includes, of course, way more than 200 school buildings. And but anyway, it's important to understand that using the schools has been really critical, and it has a lot to do with 50,000 students not having any disciplinary or not having any incidents where they've been abused or mistreated.
So Ash, when you hear Coach, talk about the 200 plus school districts that we're in 191 chapters. We're in 6 states. And a part of recruiting mentors is the marketing, telling the story of Nancy and Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, telling your story, whether it's in Nebraska, in Iowa, in South Dakota, in Kansas, in Wyoming, and even in Missouri, I don't think a lot of people get distracted by the fact that you are a former Husker football coach. I think they are more impressed with the impact. Ash, I'm going to ask you this question. Knowing that mentorship works, how has it been telling our story across 6 states?
In this past year, it's been eye-opening to learn the story. A lot of people don't know that it was Nancy who created this idea of TeamMates and brought it to Coach. And in one of the awesome videos that we have of Nancy telling that story, she pretty much told Coach, this is what we're going to do. And Coach said, okay, okay, we're going to do this.
That's what you do in your marriage. You say, okay.
You say, okay. So it really has been an honor to tell the TeamMates story, how it transpired and what Coach talked about. And when he took it to his team and 22 football hands went up. And what's the coolest thing is it started, especially in Nebraska where we don't have professional sports like Nebraska football, Nebraska athletics. This is our professional sports in this state. So what is so cool is Coach used his platform during a time when a lot of other coaches don't do that now. They didn't do that then. So the fact that Coach stepped out of that box and said, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to make an impact. And at the time, it was in the state of Nebraska. But to see where it has gone in these 6 states, these last 35 years, having served over 50,000 students, currently serving 10,000 students with the goal within the next 2 years to serve 12,000 students. So continuing to honor the legacy of Coach and Nancy and the foundation of the TeamMates organization, who we are, who we represent, has been a true honor this past year.
And Coach, you tell me all of the time that you don't care about legacy. You just care about the difference that we're making. I just want you to hear what students are saying about what you and Nancy talked about. You mentioned hope. Over 80% of mentees have reported higher levels of hope because of their mentor. 90% of mentees report that they can trust their mentors. 90% of mentees report that they feel their mentor cares about them. And 94% of mentors report that they are proud to be in TeamMates. When you hear what our students are saying, given that one of your most proud moments is the number of students that we have served, how does that make you feel?
Well, I'm very pleased, obviously. And the reason I've told you, Des Moines, that I don't try to worry about my legacy is that so often people, when they're focused on how they'll be remembered or when they focus on what the history books might write, sometimes they run afoul of ego and they do certain things based on what they think their legacy will be rather than what's best, what really honors God in a sense. And so that's why I say I'm not really too concerned about legacy. But these things, that the thing that is important is that we are somewhat data driven. And so we haven't just gone out and mentored and said, well, we hope it works. It's important that you gather data and have a pretty good idea of what really is happening in all of those matches. And I appreciate the nice things that Ashton said, but there is a problem of having me involved in that Iowa decided that they were rivals of Nebraska. And when people in Iowa that were involved with teammates found out that I was involved, then it did not play very well. So we really have left my name out of the whole discussion when we go to Iowa. But teammates is so much more than Nancy and me. We've had a lot of really good people. And Des Moines has been really good in that we have these close to 200 chapters. And you think about it, when you're out in western Nebraska or we're in Wyoming or down in Kansas, it means a lot to have somebody from the teammates office come and spend time and show that you care. And Des Moines has been on the road a lot and has done a tremendous job of holding things together. So right now, we are pretty much in the central part of the United States. And we've had a lot of people, California, Texas, Arizona, even toward the East Coast have approached us. But you can't outkick your coverage. In other words, you don't want to try to start something that you can't service and that you can't be in contact personally with those people. So Des Moines is kind of the thing that's helped hold things together, and I appreciate the role that he's played and appreciate what you've done. I know you went to Wesleyan and were an athlete there, and we're not going to hold that against you.
Thanks, Coach.
I went to Hastings College. Used to be that was a bad thing, but we appreciate very much what you do. You've done a great job.
Before we go to the last segment, Coach, I have watched you continue to be a mentor to former players like me and just so many other individuals that have crossed paths with you, one being Coach Rue right now. The amount of time that the two of you spent, and given that the Huskers are getting ready to play their first game on Thursday, mentorship goes beyond just, students. The more people can just lift other people. What excites you about this upcoming Thursday, given the mentorship that you have provided Coach Rue?
Well, I don't think the outcome of that game is going to be determined 1% based on whatever I've done with Matt Rule. But I know what coaching entails. And we used to spend 90, 95 hours a week getting ready for a game. It was very, very demanding. And you are going to be subject to a lot of scrutiny, a certain amount of criticism. And so with Matt and with other coaches, I've simply tried to be an encouragement. And I texted him about 3 hours ago and wished him well for the game. And I didn't think I'd hear back. And 10 minutes later, I hear back. And so Matt is a very good communicator. And he is primarily a CEO type coach, where he picks the people, puts them in places to coach. And I think he's a very good recruiter. And I was down talking to the football team about a month ago, and I would have to say they look the part. They passed the eyeball test. So we'll see how but I think they'll have a good year, and I think they're on a good trajectory.
90 to 95 hours a week. That's a lot of time, Coach.
That is, and it's difficult on your family when you have kids, and trying to work it all in is probably the most demanding part of the job. There are no shortcuts in coaching. It takes a lot of time, but had a good staff, and we made it work. And I'd have to give a lot of credit to Nancy, because there were a lot of PTA meetings and events at school that I couldn't be there. But I tried to structure things in such a way that most evenings I was able to have dinner with our kids and maybe be there and put them to bed. And then I'd turn the projector on and be up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But family is really important, and it's difficult in coaching.
Nancy, we love you. And to Suzanne, Mike, all of the kids, thank you for allowing Coach to do what he's doing. And to all of the mentors, thank you. We got to go to break. You're live, Teammates Timeout with DeMo and Ash and co-founder Tom Osborne. We'll be back in just a couple more minutes.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
M Suits Clothiers, Lincoln's favorite men's store, is having their end-of-season clearance sale. End-of-season clearance is going on now with up to 75% off. Stop in now for the best selection on polos, sport shirts, suits, sport coats, dress pants, and dress shirts. Suits as low as $299, sport coats starting at $199, dress shirts as low as $69, and polos starting at $49. M Suits Clothiers is located 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road. M Suits Clothiers, your menswear store.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the whole ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at our downtown studio at 11th and O. Sponsored by Select Plumbing, Raising Cane's, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Currency, and the Kindler Hotel.
Nebraska football opens their season on Thursday, August 28th in Kansas City, and you can be a part of the best pregame tailgate party with Blur Events, live from Kauffman Stadium, home of the Royals. Doors open 4 hours before kickoff with a live DJ promoting interactive competitions and giveaways, tailgate games like cornhole, flip cup, and beer pong, access to ballpark concessions, and available air conditioning. Book your tickets today at blurevents.com/Kansas City and hang with 93.7 The Ticket on the scene prior to Nebraska versus Cincinnati on August 28th.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio, video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Back to Teammates Timeout with DeMo and Ash on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Teammates Timeout with DeMo and Ash. Special guest, co-founder, former head coach, Dr. Tom Osborne. The time has flown by. You know, Coach, I just have one more question for you, and then I know Ashton will kind of wrap it up with one question. You know, we've been doing this show since October 1, letting people know about this waiting list of students that want a mentor. None of our students are required to have a mentor. For those that are listening, knowing that there is a waiting list, what would you tell those right now that are listening about becoming a mentor? What's your pep talk to those people?
Well, I think so often when somebody mentions mentoring to somebody, they assume, well, this is going to be me giving up my time, and it's kind of a one-way street. And but it's always been amazing to me over the years as I talk to mentors, how many of them feel that they've said this to me. They said, you know, I think I get more out of it than my mentee. And I heard that over and over again. And finally, I asked some people, I said, well, I've heard this so many times. What do you mean when you say you get more out of it? And essentially what it boils down to is a sense of meaning and purpose. Doing something for somebody who on the surface can't do anything for you in return. And maybe making a lasting difference in that young person's life adds a sense of significance and meaning and purpose. And we live in a society that is very much me first. What's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this? And but that doesn't really provide meaning and purpose. Serving and sometimes sacrificing is what provides meaning and purpose. And so meaning and purpose is really one of the greatest rewards, I think, that anybody can get out of life. And as I've mentioned, there is a ripple effect. It doesn't just impact that one person over a short period of time. It affects that young person in the direct trajectory of their life, their children, sometimes their parents, their brothers and sisters. And so if you can impact one life for the better, you're going to impact a lot of people. And we hope people understand that it is really, you know, you have Meals on Wheels, you have a lot of one-shot deals, bring food to somebody. But if you can make a difference in a person's life, it's for the long haul. And that's one of the greatest experiences I think anybody can have.
Coach, for this last question, what is one piece of advice one of your mentors has given you that you have carried throughout your life?
Well, you know, I think you got to remember, I'm 88 years old. So I've had a lot of pieces of advice, you know, and I think, generally speaking, the important thing is to be true to yourself. You know, you know what the right thing is, what the best thing is most of the time. Now, sometimes there are gray areas and you're not quite sure how to weave your way through. But I think the most important thing is, if you can, try to make sure that you're true to your ideals. And I guess my spiritual life has been very important. A lot of times people don't think about it, but there's mind, there's the mental aspect, there's the body, the physical aspect, and then thirdly, there's the spiritual aspect. And sometimes as we go through life in our culture, there's very little emphasis on the spiritual. And spirituality has to do with serving, has to do with serving other people. And so I think having a balanced approach and trying to do as much as you can to develop in all three areas is very important.
Thank you.
Well, Coach, just know that this team that you are trusting to provide mentors, to train mentors, to take care of these students, we have a we over me attitude. Teamwork makes the dream work. And Coach, we just appreciate you for trusting us to be those servant leaders and to bring hope to 200 communities. And I will continue to make sure that all of these communities that you asked me to serve feel that engagement and that love. So thank you, Coach. Ash, I'll let you close it out.
Again, Coach, thank you so much for everything you and Nancy have done to create this phenomenal program. You are listening to Teammates Timeout with DeMo and Ash on 93.7 The Ticket. We're back next week, and then we have one more show after that, DeMo.
One more show. But this is, I would say, one of the most important shows. And so, Coach, thank you again for your time, for your gift of time.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all you guys do for teammates. Appreciate it.
Season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest.